Hi, welcome back to our vlog. We're talking to you today about insurance, and it's Jonathan, and I'm talking from console room 3 in our practice at Worcester again. So we've had a great day today, but what we put out a while back was a couple of options for people about what we wanted to talk about, and they've decided that they'd like to hear about insurance. So insurance is an interesting topic from the point of view that I always think insurance is probably a waste of money until you need it, and then when you need it, it is the best thing ever. And what it does is it enables you to get the level of veterinary care that we are able to offer. One of the things that happens in these days is our standard of care that we can offer is getting better and better and better and better, and it's getting more and more accessible for us to have better equipment, and we're continuously investing money in having that more expensive equipment, and that enables us to do more for your pet. So for example, the older vets would just do a physical examination and that would be enough, and we would say, yep, great, carry on, and here's an antibiotic course, etc. Now we can do blood tests, and we can check whether the actual inflammation markers are raised in your pet, and we can just make certain that we are treating more accurately and more correctly, and therefore we get better results. The downside to that is obviously because we're doing more investigations and more diagnostics and doing a level standards are higher, it means that the cost component is significantly increased as a result. And it doesn't take long before you've got a sick pet and we've added up all the little bits and pieces that you're into a substantial bill. And especially this time in January, I think it's a really pertinent time to be looking after the pennies. We've all had a great Christmas, and now we're in that time between now and the end of the month before we get paid, and it's, money's tight. And what insurance does, it means you don't have to downgrade your pet care by not having the appropriate funding available. On a side note, we do also offer alternative ways of funding in the practice. So if you don't have insurance and you're watching this vlog, don't panic. We've still got some really good accessible finance options, and we can, if you want to come down and talk to us about those, if you've got any issues, please do, and that's great. And we can then spread the cost interest-free over a year. So that's just as an aside. But talking about insurance itself, there's insurance, we are in a way quite sort of hand-tied these days about what we can really tell you. We used to be able to say, oh, this is the best insurance and this is what we use and that's what I have and that's why you should get it, and it's really great because not only do they look after you as the client, they look after me as the business, and it's great and they're the perfect ones. Well, the FSA have said that's unfair, and therefore we're not allowed to talk about it, so we can't actually tell you which is the best insurance to go for. So insurance is a form of payment to the practice, and one of the things that we always like to talk about it, it's still your debt that you're creating in the business and that you're still liable for. So yes, you may have insurance, but the very quality of insurance could be from a waste of time, frankly, to absolutely excellent from the financial amount of cover. So we've come across some insurances which are as low as £500. Now that's not worth paying any money for. It is just not a significant amount of money to be an effective thing. Yeah, it'll help, but by the time you've paid your £8-10 for that, you'd have been better putting that £8-10 into a bank account rather, and there are better quality levels of insurance out there. So we often deal with insurance cover for a pet or a condition, $4,000, $7,000, $12,000 or more per year. Now, $4,000, these figures, incidentally, for these level of covers have been historic in the veterinary industry and haven't changed for about probably a good 15 years. That level of cover stayed the same. What has changed is the amount of your premiums have gone up significantly to get that level of cover, because obviously as more and more people have learned about pet insurance, then instead of it necessarily making it more not affordable, but it has become more affordable, but making it more better value, and the value is not always as good as what you perceive it to be. So there are some really key questions you need to understand and need to know when you're getting insurance. Is it insurance worthwhile having is the first question you need to ask, because if it's £500 and it's going to exclude everything after the first claim, yeah, you'd be better saving up for that. If, however, it's insurance that is going to help you when your pet gets a lifelong condition, for example, like diabetes, which has multiple complications and can be quite costly initially while stabilizing, and while they're having diabetic crises, there's a lot of medical management, a lot of time, a lot of intensive veterinary nursing care, expensive drugs may be required. That's when insurance really is worth every single penny. So when we're spending that £2,000, £3,000, £4,000, that's when it's great to have insurance, because then you're not having to say, oh, Jonathan, that's a great option for what you'd like to do for my pet, but I can't afford it. Whereas if you've got insurance, we can say, okay, you've got insurance, let's look into how we use that insurance to help you and make sure you can get the cover in place. Bear in mind, it's still your debt. So if the insurance, for whatever reason, decide that you are not covered by them, you would still be liable for that debt, and that's really important. It's not a license to just spend the money. It is there to help you. We all have insurance in other ways and forms in life. So we have car insurance, we have home insurance, and we have pet insurance. And pet insurance is very, very unique and not quite the same as your car or your home insurance. So you have to understand the policy a bit more. It's not just, oh, it's insurance and I know what I'm getting and it's all the same. And they're not. Every single policy differs, and there's very personalized policies. And even within companies, they can have multiple numbers of insurances. The other thing that's happened is you have to check which insurance company is there and how long it's been around. We've had a couple of incidents where insurance companies have started up and folded within a year, and the people where they get stung by that are the people whose pets get conditions in that year, and then they try to insure them with somebody else and they're not covered because it becomes a pre-existing condition. And pre-existing conditions are basically anything that we record in your notes or any vet records in your clinical history that you had before you actually had an active insurance policy in place. So they can request history from any vet that's ever seen your pet, and they can refuse to pay out if you haven't sent them the appropriate history. And in fact, we have to send history with every single claim we make. So that's how they will validate it. And that means that as a vet, we also are very conscious of this, and we're always trying to work with people and get them the best help they can. But if we, for example, will describe your ears in the dog that's got a bit of otitis, and we might say it has otitis, we're concerned about underlying allergies and bits and pieces. There have been occasions when, even if it hasn't been an allergy, that has caused us some trouble in the past with submitting claims, and they've been thrown out because no, we don't cover any allergies, etc. So very important to read the fine print on your insurance policy and make sure you understand it. One of the things that does happen as you make claims, your policy can change, like car insurance, but that's not true for all insurance companies. So some insurance companies, you can make unlimited number of claims and it won't affect your policy cost or cover per year. And those are one of the questions you've got to ask. The other thing is, every year that your policy renews, does it cover all of the conditions again? Is a really important question, because some of them will only offer cover on that condition, say arthritis, for a year, and then the following year you've got no cover. But you've paid into it for 7-8 years to get to that point, and then your insurance only covers you for a single year. So that, in my opinion, is once again very poor value for money. So you need to be watching that the whole time and balancing and checking and making certain and reassessing your insurance and your level of cover. One of the things that's quite interesting, I always find it's quite easy to start a little bit higher when you've got a new puppy, go for a better quality, a higher cover of insurance, and that's quite a good way to do it. And then you can always get through the first 3-4 years and you can have a look and see where you are, and then you can make a better choice because you've got through the initial, what am I getting, what does my dog like, I don't know what it's like. And even if you're picking up a dog from a rehoming center and they've got no history and they're telling you it's under the 6-year-old mark, because 6-year-old is generally the cutoff for when you can get more insurances available. Once you go over 6 in the dog's age or the cat's age, it gets tougher to insure them. So that's when you should really, if you're getting a new dog, get a decent insurance policy, or a new cat, get a really good insurance policy. And the average insurance policy that I would suggest you have for a pet these days is at least as a minimum about £7,000 worth of cover per condition per year that can renew. And unfortunately sometimes that'll cover probably 95% of our cases, and there'll be very few that we can't get all the cover from in that, i.e. where we go over the £7,000 worth of vet's fees per year. So some of these things, the drugs unfortunately are quite costly, so we have to watch that. And like I said, everything adds up. So when you add up and you're building your level of care and you're getting your quality higher, then the costs and unmistakably go up with it. I don't think there's much else. I think one of the things, obviously, there's direct insurance and claiming directly through the vets, and we as a practice we always quite supportive of this, and maybe a bit too supportive. We could argue from a business sense, but we don't. As a business, we try and help you to help your pets to the best of your ability, and we don't want the fact that you've got insurance, but we won't accept your insurance to limit your treatment. And by that I mean, I don't want to have to put more financial pressure than is already on people in the industry already, or my clients, and they're coming to see us. So we understand it's a stressful time, your baby's sick, there's lots of things going on. We have to talk money, it's just a fact, but we don't want the money to, if you've got insurance, to become a limiting factor. So as a practice, we are happy to do direct claims. Obviously we've got protocols and bits and pieces and that you have to follow. It does create some management side, and often you will have to pay extras. So sometimes as your pet gets older, there's some co-insurance, and that can go anywhere from 10% up to 30-40% co-insurance. You've got your excesses per condition and sometimes per year, and that can be anywhere from 75 up to 150 pounds co-excess. So it does change, and we do also do an administration charge for processing direct claims. In fact, I have a whole team here that work virtually exclusively just on processing insurance claims and trying to manage those, and it does give us a lot more work to do to enable you to have a direct claim. It would be far easier for us as a business to say don't allow direct claims, but obviously we're putting our patients first, and we want them to get the best care they can, and we don't want to jeopardize them by having to increase that time interval by speaking to insurance companies and getting things pre-approved or pre-authorized, etc. So we try and do the best we can. So yeah, I think that's kind of insurance from a veterinary perspective. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found something interesting. If you did, please let us know. If you've got any other questions, please once again let us know, contact us, and we'd love your feedback, and thanks for watching.